people of the world. Hello and welcome to Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode number 72,419.6. It's going to be a little bit of a different episode today. My good friend Leo, who owns Tea and Whisk on Eastern Avenue, is my hero. You can see a picture of him here if you're watching us on the live show. He's my hero for a number of reasons. Number one, I used to drink a lot of coffee, and I don't know if you have enjoyed a lot of coffee in your life, but for many, many years, I was totally cool with it. No drama. I was coffee guy. Coffee is life. People would tell me things like, you know what, I stopped drinking coffee because I would get the shakes. Or they would say, yeah, I know coffee's really not good for me. And I'd be like, you're crazy, because coffee is the greatest thing that's ever existed in the history of ever. Why don't you drink coffee? And as I sip on my tea here, let me tell you, I started feeling a little bit of chest tightness when I would drink coffee. And before everyone becomes a physician and tells me of all my heart drama, don't worry, I do see a doctor and I'm okay. I also stopped eating meat, lower cholesterol, stuff like that. Anyway, so I started getting into tea, and apparently there is a big difference between loose leaf tea and like powder tea bags that you buy at the store. And now I have an entire drawer full of tea from Tea and Whisk, which again is the greatest tea shop I have ever been to. In Mandarin, it's referred to as a chaguan. Cha is Mandarin for tea. If you want to pronounce it right, it's a rising tone. It's not cha. It's not cha. It's not cha. It's cha. Chaguan tea shop. Anyway, so on the show today, Leo Lukidi was going to swing on by. But here's the thing. I love Leo. I think he's an amazing human being. He just had a son. Oh, that might be him calling. Should we pick up? Let's see. Hi, this is Kellen. Uh-huh. It's at 11:30. Yep, that's where you're coming for sure. Yep. Okay, sounds good. All right, bye. That was not Leo. So today's show is about calling audibles and being comfortable. Okay, that's what today's show is about. We will have Leo on the show, but as you can probably tell, he is not joining us today. And there's this moment prior to going live or having a show, whatever, where you can do one of two things. If things don't go your way, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, you can cancel it. You can just call it a day, or you can be very honest with your audience and just let them know and have this kind of show must go on mentality. And that's what today is. It's the show must go on mentality. So I'm closing on a house today, and that was the title company calling me. I thought it might be Leo, which is why I picked it up. And so that's why you're privy to this incredible conversation. So you may not think that tea has anything to do with entrepreneurship, but you would be wrong. There are a number of chemicals in tea that are absolutely fantastic for your body. So green tea benefits is something that you should be aware of, because if you are interested in grinding and winning, clearly your mental health is everything. So green tea contains healthy bioactive compounds. Tea is rich in polyphenols, which are natural compounds that have health benefits, such as reducing inflammation and helping to fight cancer. Green tea contains a catechin called epigallocatechin 3-gallate. Say that 3 times fast. Catechins are natural antioxidants that help prevent cell damage. So the summary here is green tea is loaded with polyphenol antioxidants. So your overall health obviously is going to help. Tea may help your brain function. The big one you want to know is L-theanine. So green tea contains less caffeine than coffee, but enough to produce an effect. It also contains an amino acid L-theanine, which can work synergistically with caffeine to improve brain function, which is a pretty big deal if you want to be a happy camper. The other thing that you should know about tea is that it may increase fat burning. Green tea may boost metabolic rate and increase fat burning in the short term, although not in all age ranges, or all studies agree, excuse me. So what I do want to tell you is that if you just pour yourself a cup of tea as an entrepreneur in the morning, that's one thing, okay? But what Leo here taught me, as I point to Leo on the screen, is something called Gong Fu Cha. When we have him on the show, we'll tell you all about it. But anyway, I'm lifting up my Kung Fu tea set for my YouTube people, podcasters, people listening to us on other platforms. Just imagine like a gorgeous little wooden platform and then 2 clay pots and a little teacup. The difference between Kung Fu tea, Gong Fu Cha, and regular tea drinking is if you drink a tea from just a regular cup, which I'm actually doing right now, it gets cold, right? So this is like lukewarm. But if you use one of these neat little carafes, so just imagine like a little glass dealio, little glass container. The way you do Kung Fu tea is you take it from the clay pot, which I am now doing. You pour it into this guy, and it's hot. Woo! And from here, you pour into this little cup like this. Yeah. And if it's too hot, you can blow on it. And basically what it does is it cools off quickly. So you can have hot tea that cools off quickly, and you just pour from this one cup to the other one. And you drink tea for like 3 hours. This is the main difference. So some people will drink a cup of tea, and that's fine. It gets cold half the way through. I'm going to boil more water too. And here's the other thing. You would lose your mind if you knew how effective doing Kung Fu tea is for business. So imagine you're going to come meet with me, and you're like, hey, where do you want to meet? And I'm like, let's meet at Tea and Whisk. And my potential customer or business partner or whatever is like, oh, what's that? I've never been there. It's like, you just come. It's cool. So you swing by the local tea shop, right? The vibe is super chill. And then in front of your potential client or whomever is this gorgeous setup, these clay pots. You order the tea, and then you proceed to drink the tea. But here's the deal. You keep filling up their cup, and you just try to not let it run dry, right? And if they finish, you're just constantly serving them. And so everyone knows that if you consistently serve somebody, you're ingratiating yourself. You're showing them that you respect them. And there's this sort of mystic sort of, I don't know, difficult to explain effect that it has. And then all of these things that I just mentioned, like the L-theanine and this catechin and all this stuff starts to have an effect, not when you have just that one cup, but you're drinking this for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. The tea's flowing through you. It creates this incredible social atmosphere. People loosen up. People have even referred to it as becoming tea drunk. Which, obviously is a bit silly, but it's also a thing. If you've never done it, if you've never sat and had Kung Fu tea for a long time, you may not fully understand it, but it's not just the caffeine. It's the steady flow of everything else that's also in the tea. And then the very nature of the fact that you're in a tea shop that has some of the best tea in the world. So this is a really, really important and cool business mechanism for selling, for meeting people, for networking, that for me is much, 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 much better than coffee. Because the coffee vibe is roll up to a Starbucks, which is sort of blah, or roll up to like a nicer sort of, coffee place. That's kind of cool. But the deal with the coffee is it's really hot when you first start drinking it. You get this huge buzz, and then this precipitous sort of like drop. And then you can't, I don't know about you, but like who sits and drinks like 5 cups of coffee, 8 cups of coffee? That's kind of crazy. You're getting into like crazy territory. So you have this time limit, and you're not constantly serving the person. And so, I'm telling you, I'm drinking oolong tea right now for the record. But I have teas from just all over the place, which is amazing. So anyway, tea is something to seriously consider in regards to selling and to networking. So let's move on. By the way, healthline.com/nutrition/top 10 evidence-based health benefits of green tea is the article I'm reading from. in case anyone is curious. Antioxidants may lower the risk of some cancers, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colorectal cancer. The summary is that the powerful antioxidants may protect against cancer. Multiple studies show that green tea drinkers have a lower risk of various types of cancer. Should that not be enough? You know what I mean? Like, is that not enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to go down this path? May protect the brain from aging, seriously, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. The bioactive compounds in green tea can have various protective effects on the brain. They may reduce the risk of dementia, a common neurodegenerative disorder in older adults. The other thing is, I do want to talk about this article, which you can't see, but I can describe it to you. It's 10 bullets. There's a longer section that goes into the nuance of it, and then there's a summary. So this article is a great example of a long-form blog that just gets tons and tons and tons of views. It ranks #1 for good reason. Imagine a bulleted list, 10 in a row. You've got a larger section where it really breaks it down, and then you have a summary where you can quickly gloss over it. I'm reading the summaries. But there you go. Great example of marketing here. So may reduce bad breath. This one's a big one. This one is a big one that doesn't get enough play. So you are in a business meeting and you're going to go talk with XYZ person and you really want, to establish a relationship with them. It's not one of those things where it's like an hour meeting and that's it. You have a meeting for like 1 p.m. in the afternoon or like 10 a.m. And they sit down across from you and you just start pouring them this tea. First of all, the person across from you is usually, if they're an American, or not familiar with this particular tea culture, they're just blown away. They're just like, wow, this is so cool. They're just really into the vibe. And then you serve them. Now, obviously, you have to find a tea that they dig, which can be, it's not tricky. Usually, Americans like jasmine, organic green tea. That's usually the one they like. It's got this kind of floral vibe to it. Oolong is delicious. Pu'er is delicious. Some of the white teas are delicious. There's a million different white teas, but the thing is, the tea shop owner is going to hook you up. So, like, if you pour them a tea and they're like, that's not my cup of tea, then you just move on to the next thing, whatever. Not that big of a deal. So anyway, you're sitting across from someone, and this kicks in, may reduce bad breath. Nothing is worse for a business meeting than smelling some nasty breath of the person sitting opposite you. So check this out. The catechins in green tea may inhibit the growth of bacteria in the mouth, reducing the risk of bad breath and potentially lower the risk of infection. So Streptococcus mutans is a common bacterium in the mouth. It causes plaque formation and is a leading contributor to cavities and tooth decay. Studies indicate that the catechins in green tea can inhibit the growth of oral bacteria in the lab. So that makes perfect sense to me, right? So you're sipping on some green tea, and these catechins are just inhibiting the growth of this nasty bacteria, which causes all that nasty stuff that nobody wants. So incredible. May help prevent type 2 diabetes, which is a condition affecting 1 out of 10 Americans. Some controlled studies show that green tea may cause mild reductions in blood sugar levels. It may also lower risk of type 2 diabetes. One study in Japan found that people who drank the most green tea had an approximate 42% lower risk of type 2 diabetes, which is incredible. Some people need sugar in their tea, but if you're doing kung fu tea, you'll very quickly realize that that's just untenable. So you pour this tiny little glass. What, are you going to add honey to this every single time? I don't think so. Doesn't make any sense. And so there's like just the slightest amount of bitterness to tea without sugar, but if you can get over that, you reap all these benefits, which is totally worth it. Number 8 may help prevent cardiovascular disease. Green tea may lower total and LDL, bad cholesterol, as well as protect the LDL particles from oxidation. Studies show that people who drink green tea have a lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Now you'll notice I am focusing predominantly on green tea, which has all these benefits, but other teas have benefits as well. So it's not like must have green tea, all other tea is death. This is obviously ridiculous. Teas contain many of the same compounds, but this particular article is just about green tea, but don't feel like that is the only option for you, of course. And look, there's a huge difference between like a chai latte that's swimming in cow's milk and just delicious tea. So obviously when I'm talking about tea, I'm just talking about literally just tea. And remember, kung fu tea is what you want to check out. Amazon has a bunch of clay pots you can get, but I would recommend going to teaandwhisk.com and buying all your stuff from him because you're supporting a local, incredible human being by name of Leo. Two more things. So may help you lose weight. Some studies show that green tea may lead to increased weight loss. It may be particularly effective at reducing the dangerous abdominal fat. So there you go. And last but not least, may help you live longer. So studies show that people who drink green tea may live longer than those that do not. Given that some compounds in green tea may help prevent cancer and heart disease, it makes sense that it would help you live longer. In one study, researchers studied 43,533 Japanese adults over 11 years. Those who drank the most green tea, listen to this, 5 or more cups daily. Hello. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's not a small quantity. So people will go, oh yeah, I drink coffee because I can't get a buzz off of tea. And I say, you're doing it wrong. Does this make sense to you? You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. So it's weird that the Kung Fu tea ritual is the perfect way to get the quantity of tea into your body, but it just works, and it's ancient for a reason. I would love to, invite folks down and help and do this sort of thing. Esther coming in with a comment. EGCG found in green tea is the only natural substance known to shrink cancerous tumors in mice. Thanks for that. Esther, our co-host. Esther Sass Insurance is where everyone should get their insurance all the time, every time. So, so green tea, incredible. So people die less. You know what I'm saying? Another study involving 14,001 older Japanese individuals found that those who drank the most green tea were 76% less likely to die during a 6-year study period. Just less likely to die. Because the other thing that you have to remember is if you're drinking a lot, okay, first of all, it's going to make you just a better person in general, I would argue. And then you can drink too much, don't get me wrong. Like I've drank so much tea that sometimes my throat feels a little like, it's hard to describe. It's like a tea feeling, which isn't the most pleasant feeling in the world, but you have to drink a lot of tea over a long period of time. And so again, if you want to be really successful in business, you want to level head, you want to be calm, you want to be alert, and tea does all these things, So the big game changer for me was understanding that if you get the actual loose leaf tea, like the little balls of tea that turn into the actual leaves, you can brew it all day long. So you might look at the price and go, $25, that's crazy. Like, why would I do that for 4 ounces of green tea? But then you put in like 7 of these little balls, and there's like hundreds and hundreds in this bag. And you brew it and you go, and you hit it again, you're like, wow, this is going to last all day. And then it does. The only thing that you would really have to do is after brew like 15, you might just bump the temperature up a little bit. So I highly recommend getting one of these teapots like this. So it's just an Amazon, whatever, stupid teapot. And then when you click on it, you have different temperatures. So it starts at 212 and then it goes 200, 190, 180, 170. And it just takes one Google search. You're like, what's the good temperature for green tea? I do it at 180. I do basically all of my teas at 180, but I might bump it up to 190 if my tea's getting cold. I'll pour the water in. It's this kind of dance that you do throughout the day with your tea and how you're feeling. And so, So anyway, if you're an entrepreneur and you're into marketing and or you're a business owner, and the inevitable fire comes in your life, you want the calming effects of tea coursing through your body. If you're sitting across from someone that you've never met and you're a little nervous and, you want them to relax and you want to be relaxed. And it's the only drug on planet Earth that I am aware of that has all of these health benefits. Coffee, I think, has some, but there are some issues with coffee. And obviously alcohol is a disaster. Long term, we know that because you get a hangover. Marijuana, like, what are you gonna go meet with a client and smoke weed? Tea is just the move. It's just the move for business, as far as I'm concerned. There's an ancient tea culture that goes back to the dawn of time with people getting together and drinking tea. So anyway, we obviously miss Leo, but in his honor, we have done a tea episode. We will obviously get him on the show. In spirit, he hovers over my shoulder as I drink tea. And if it wasn't for Leo, this episode never would have happened at all. So Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Tea and Whisk. He has managed to, in spirit, be on this particular episode. And again, we'll have him on, so don't sweat. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the show for today. My name is Kellen Kautzman. I own Send It Rising Internet Marketing. And I highly recommend that you drink tea. Why don't we do an outro? Yeah, sure. Why not? Who doesn't love an outro, am I right? All right, we'll see y'all next time.